Welcome to Because We Love You. This episode, we are continuing our talk on what we learned from the 75-day health challenge. And I'm particularly excited about this one.
Yeah.
I think it backs up well to our talk on consistency because I think that it takes consistency to create a culture, a culture of health, a culture of fitness, a culture of encouragement, engagement, reading, knowledge, growth. It all it's not formed overnight, you know? Like this is not just like, bam, this is our culture in the workplace, in our homes, in our relationships. It takes time. But I think that we really saw that the culture of the people around us was so beneficial and it made it so much easier to perform, to do these tasks every 75 days because we knew that the people around us were in our corner and doing the same thing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, anytime you want to change a behavior or pick up a new habit or build a new lifestyle, it's so much easier if the people around you are already doing it. And and if people are, not doing it and you're trying to change something, it is so hard. I mean, classic examples of thinking about this is why, addicts can't continue hanging out with people who are doing the behavior they're trying to stop because it is so hard to be countercultural. It's hard to eat healthy when you're around people who only eat junk food or, aren't really worried about what they're consuming. It's hard to work out if, no one else that is really moving their body. It is hard to pursue knowledge or to read or to do those types of things if none of your friends or family are interested in that. Like it's just so hard. And so, both of us saw that we were just so thankful that our circle of friends did this with us because it made it much easier. The example that comes to mind is we had a friend's birthday during the 75 days and if you know anything about us, we do birthdays big, and it tends to be a big celebration with lots of junk and fun and silly craziness. But it was great because we were all doing this. We were all committed to eating healthy. We were all committed to moving our bodies every day and just making good choices. And so for all of us, it was easy to say, okay, well, let's do something big and fun and crazy, but let's make sure we can move our bodies and make it easy to make good food choices. So went to a winery, but it was a place that had a few different hikes you could do. So we went there, spent all day, hiked, got our miles in, took healthy snacks, ate, hung out, laughed, drank wine, and it was great. And I just remember thinking, I'm so glad that we are all doing this together.
Yes. So basically, you do when you're trying to be consistent in things, you've either got to pick a cult. You've got to look around and say, "Oh, this is the culture I want to be a part of," or you have to decide, "I'm going to be countercultural. This culture is not going to stand, and I'm going to be the culture setter." I don't think that's a thing. Culture starter,
culture setter, culture maker,
the culture producer, creator. I like that. Culture creator. I will create the culture that I want, but you have to be prepared that takes time, that takes inspiration, that takes motivation, and you have to whatever the culture is that you want, you have to inspire the people around you. So it does take an investment. That is much harder than just finding people that they're already doing the thing that you want to do.
I feel actually pretty strongly about this. That's what I was just going to say is I think only very few people are culture creators. I think it's very hard to create culture. I think for most of us, we kind of default to whatever the culture is around us. Like even if we don't want to, that's just, it's easier that way. And that's what we tend to do. I think you are a culture creator. I think, no, you don't have to hem-haw about it. You can do that. You can motivate, you can build culture, you can do that. And people kind of do what you do. I mean, I think some people just have that kind of influence in an environment to set the tone, to set the culture, to create the culture, but very few people are like that. And so, I mean, honestly, I would warn against that, trying to be the one. I mean, be the one. If you want to have good habits, be the one. But you don't want to be the only one, you know? So even if you are trying to find or change, create culture, in the groups that you're in, you also need to get yourself in some circles where that's already the culture.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this, I referenced this book in the last episode, but in Atomic Habits, James Clear says, join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. And I just think that's huge because most of us just can't create culture.
Yeah.
So find the culture, find a group of people already doing and what you want to do, already being the type of person you want to be. We talked about identity last week. So find the people who are the people that you want to become and just spend a lot of time with them.
Yeah. I think though that it is important that you don't have to be doing it yet to be a part of that group. Like maybe it's just, you have to identify with like, this is where I want to go. Like, I think I'm thankful for you because you have truly set some of the tone for, I think, fitness in our group. And I think that you slowly, like, we pull more and more people into that idea of like, this will be our culture. We will be active. We will push our bodies. We will do really, really hard things. And that is how we grow. And so by doing that, I haven't always been there, but I've been around it, and it is where I want to go. So slowly people change to do that. So, because I don't want people to think, I've got to already be where they're at. You don't, but you should value it and say, hey, this is what I want it to look like. And we talk a lot about fitness, but it is not just fitness. I mean, it's so many other things. It's relationships and growth. I think that one way that our group of girls, we have a culture of vulnerability and now even like touching, and I always love it. I used to be the only toucher.
Yes.
I was like, I'm the only one that's going to touch anybody around here, but now I'll come into rooms and spaces and I see so many people laying on each other and hair playing and touching. And I'm like,
sounds super inappropriate, by the way.
Going out to everybody.
All consensual touching, all non-sexual touching, and but just comfort, and that it puts a smile on my face. I remember, I think we invited someone to like small group one time, and they right off the bat shared something super vulnerable and it was like, whoa. And for a lot of people, they're like, how did they do that? But we had already set the stage of, we are people that say real things, that are okay at admitting fault. And I think that we value vulnerability. We value the real thing, going deep. I mean, Stacy she's not good at small talk. I mean, I'm not. You know me.
She's kind of terrible at it.
It's true.
Because she wants to know your heart's desire. She does not want to know your favorite Starbucks drink. She wants to know your heart's desire.
The weather. Don't care.
No. And so that's the culture we've created. It's like, if you want to talk about your Prada shoes, do Prada even have shoes? Do they have shoes?
I'm sure.
Okay, good.
Seems like something they would have.
Yeah, I think so. Then you don't. Then you probably, if that's as deep as you want to go, then you probably don't want to be around us for very long.
Yeah.
But that's just the culture. And if you want to stay superficial, then you probably want to stay with. That they value other things. If you want to go in depth and talking about all of your kids, you probably don't want to be around me for very long. I just don't do that very well.
That's right.
But I think what is another way that we've kind of...
Well, I think an example I saw was buying habits, which I think is so true. And I think about things like, we always make fun of our daughters for this, for like always wanting the TikTok trends, but we totally do it too, right? Kendra Scott, like we are all wearing these Kendra Scott necklaces and bracelets now. The Lululemon Scuba that you're wearing.
But hey, I didn't pay full price for mine. Mine's a hand-me-down.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't do that.
I'll
buy my daughter real things, but
I know, right?
I'm like, find a consignment store.
I'm wearing my daughter's Nikes right now, these Panda Dunks, so pulling them off. I think might have to get myself a pair. I think our buying habits, you just bought, okay, let's talk about this for a second. The audience needs to know about this. you just bought a very fancy, very expensive blanket. Yes. Please tell them about our new friend, Lola.
So I invested in a luxury blanket. Yes. Took 6 months of building up the courage to hit send, but on Black Friday, a deal I could not refuse, and I ordered Lola. And Lola now lays with me every night. It's a blanket. Okay. Remember, it's not a person.
It's a luxury blanket.
But she deserves a name because she has so much luxury. Yeah. And it really was an investment. And I felt a little of all the things, like, why did I spend this much money on a blanket? But I thought if I still wanted something after 6 months, maybe I should still do it. And then also, like, it did say it was life-changing, and I just needed to know if it was life-changing.
Okay, now we need to know, is your life changed?
I would say the 55% off, it was definitely worth it. Okay. I mean, life change is hard for me
full
because, like full price,
okay.
probably not. But it is very big, and I'm a big person. I don't know if you can tell on set, like, I engulf things.
Very tall.
And so, it is a blanket that covers me completely, and just like, it's very comforting. I mean, it feels like an animal that on your skin, and it
doesn't
just
necessarily sound great, but
no, like a fuzzy, warm, like lovey, like I don't even think you would need. If you own a dog, you could probably get rid of it if you got Lola.
Oh, wow.
Because, some people own dogs for the cuddleness of them. I think you just need Lola.
You just need a blanket.
And, I mean, it's just, I think I am, like, when I use her, I'm sleeping better, and I'm warmer, and I just feel all the things. And me and my 2 girls can all get under it comfortably. That's big, because that creates a snuggle environment. And so I want to create a culture of snuggle. And you've come over 2 times since Lola, 2 or 3 times, and you've seen that, like, we go under there. I think it creates community and touch, all the things that I value.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think that Lola is going to be a culture setter.
Okay.
Creator.
Yeah. So, I mean, generally, culture of buying. I'm sure all of our friends' husbands hope that this does not become a culture of buying.
I think it will happen. I think the next 55% off that I send you, you're probably, I know at least 1 or 2, and then it'll trickle down.
Yeah. Anyway, I love it. Good example. We buy, right? This idea of, like, social proximity effects. We become the people we're around, and we do what they do, whether it's working out, we eat what they eat, we read what they read, we buy what they buy. So
you better be inspired by them, and it needs to be good things.
It needs to be good.
I think
peer pressure for good.
Yeah. And I think, I definitely push this with my children a lot. I'm like, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
So, like, is this person who you really want to be like? Are they nice? Are they caring? Are they disciplined? Are they all the things? So, I mean...
Yeah, and a lot of evidence of this. I mean, we've talked about this Framingham study. That's kind of the classic one. It's a longitudinal study. It's over 32 years, 1971 to 2003. Lots of people studied these social networks, over 12,000 people. One of the big findings was this idea of obesity. They were studying heart health and obesity and some different health measures like that. But I thought these numbers were so interesting, so I'm just going to kind of review them quickly. But people with obese friends, if you had obese friends, it was associated with a 57% greater likelihood of future obesity for that individual. 57%. And what's really interesting about that is if you compare it to people you think may have a stronger overlap in that area because of genetics and things like that. So when they looked at siblings, it was only a 40% overlap. So, we're thinking about genetic factors. You would think that you would be closer to your siblings in terms
genetically,
of genetically in terms of, like, obesity factors than friends. But I think that's just pointing to some of these cultural environmental factors that are super important. Also, 37%, if your spouse is obese, a greater likelihood of you becoming obese. So,
and I thought that would be even bigger than sibling.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's kind of Interesting.
Spouse, 37%. You think that's maybe who you spend most of your time with.
Because I gained a lot of weight with certain boyfriends.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, my mom even called it out. She was like, man, what do y'all do? Just eat all the time? I'm like, gosh. What is there to do? So, I mean, when people eat terrible, my husband does not really like to eat like I do. So it helps me. Yeah. Like, he just doesn't enjoy the food I enjoy. Yeah. He doesn't. So eating is not what we do together.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's helpful.
57%.
I eat with you.
That's crazy. Yeah, we eat a lot. I mean, it's hard. Eating is a very social thing for me.
And I also don't really want to eat a lot of good things unless I'm eating with people. Like I desire the eating with people. Yeah. So, because I want to see, I want to feel it with you. I want to taste it. I mean, even if I taste something really good, I mean, I'll put it in your mouth. I'll be like, you got to try this. Yes. Even if it's just a nibble, you've got to eat it. I want to see what you, and if you were to not like it, then I might even just spit it out or whatever. No, I would just be like, that's probably not that good.
You're right.
I think you might even change my mind on it. Be like, oh, I'm just so joking. But I mean, it's so.
Just joking. I didn't think it was
this
that good.
Was terrible. So I kind of want to mimic.
For sure. And it's not even always, and I think this is tricky with our kids too, but for us, it's not always conscious. I think there are things that we know we mimic, we know we all tend to now read the same genre. We tend to do the same types of exercise. We tend to say the same things. We have certain phrases that you pick up.
You've not picked up my phrase. And I'm bitter about it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I thought you said I was a culture creator.
Okay. Yes, I will still say you're a culture creator. But yeah, I mean, yeah, boy, skeetum has not caught on as much as you would like. But our friends do say it sometimes. Yeah, it's not gone viral yet, though.
No, not going viral.
Okay.
Yeah, boy, skeetum just came out of the depths of my heart. So I really feel like it incorporates so many emotions.
Feels very personal to you?
Yeah, and it just so if you're listening, please feel free to say this for a emphasis on what you mean.
Please provide an example for us of when it would be appropriate to say, yeah, boy, skeetum.
It's like when you want to put an exclamation mark on something. And you don't just want to say, yay, way to go, wow. Okay. Just, why do you want to say all of the most common things?
Everyone says that.
So this is boy, skeetum. You feel the ski, the SKEE.
Yeah. Ski.
Yeah, ski.
Gotcha.
Dumb. DUM.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's just if something really, really good happens, if your kid, I've yelled this at a volleyball match. Yeah. If there's a good kill, if you're a kill is a volleyball term to hit really hard.
Thank you for the clarity.
I don't promote killing. And so you go, yeah, boy, skeetum. Ooh. And then the crowd erupts. So
I love it.
You could use it really anywhere, but it's for emphasis.
I love it. Okay. So good. But anyway, generally we do pick up the things we say, the habits, all of that of people we're around. And so, keep that in mind. But my point was that sometimes we do it consciously. Other times it is unconscious. There's this interesting effect in psychology that we call the chameleon effect. And it's that we tend to unconsciously mimic what the people around us are doing, even behaviorally. So the classic study showed they had someone either put their hand by their face or bounce their foot up and down. And they found that people would unconsciously mimic what the other person was doing. This is especially true when people are in deep conversation. So next time you're at a coffee shop, go watch people
or do something.
Yes, you can get someone to do it for sure. And you'll probably see they're sitting the same way. I've noticed this sometimes where I'll put my, my chin on my hand, and if someone else is doing that. So we're usually not aware that we're doing that, but sometimes we catch it, and I think it's interesting.
I think it makes people feel comfortable. So when I'm in the office with someone or I'm talking or whatnot, I just think getting on their I think it shows that, you know, you're getting on their level. You know, I don't want to stand when another person's sitting, so I would sit. And it shows, I don't know. It's just like it's showing connection. So there's just something about it. But I'm interested. Do I because I think I know I'm doing it. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I realize I'm like, oh, they're like doing this, so I'm going to do this. But I'm wondering if there are some like unconscious things.
Right? I'm sure
like,
there are times
could start sucking my teeth. What if I start flossing my teeth like your husband?
Oh, yes, that's it.
Like unconsciously.
But I feel like another thing related to social circles and kind of culture that I learned, at least about myself, was that I think a lot of times when we're trying to build new habits, we think about, you hear like accountability, like you need an accountability partner. And I know for the two of us, that's something we were excited about and thought would be super effective, was doing the 75-day challenge with an accountability group. And we had a small group that, you know, we kind of touch base with daily and things like that. And we kept track of our progress and marked it on an Excel sheet. And in many ways, that was great. I loved hearing what people were up to, and it was definitely helpful. But I think it was not as helpful as I anticipated. I think it's more so, it's less about having an accountability partner that's like, oh, when motivation's low, make sure I do it, which is important. And more about this culture we were talking about. That was actually, what was actually more powerful for me was being in a setting where, you know, for example, for me, it was a gym where people just, that's their normal behavior. That's what they do. So it's not just about having one person or group that holds you accountable. It's just about it becoming a normal routine or daily behavior that everyone is doing. It doesn't make you special for doing it. You're just doing the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. What did you think about that in terms of like, I don't know. I think the question of accountability versus culture is interesting.
Yes. I feel like accountability is kind of more short term. Like sometimes we pick a partner for 2 weeks or 75 days. And I think culture just means longer. Like, and I like how you said there's nothing special about me. This is what we do. I recently, as you are probably all hearing again, but I recently joined the gym, and I can feel that there's so many different people, different body types, different, like, you know, it's not all like one typical gym look or Instagram workout girl, you know, like they're real people who this is what we do. And that's such a good feeling. And there's even people that I don't work out with, but I just know at the gym. And it's interesting, you know, where have you been? Like, what have you been doing? Why haven't you been here? And so that's accountable. It's not like, hey, will you be my accountability buddy and make me go do it? No, the accountability is just showing up and like being there. So I think I get what you're saying. And even to that, like when you keep doing it, that's what creates this beautiful thing of culture and expectation. Culture is like just what happens, you know, like,
it's like you don't even see it. Like you don't even think about it. You know, it's not like, oh, we're creating this culture. Or we like, you know, sometimes it's not conscious or it's hard to measure. It just is, right? Like it's just things happening around you.
I love, especially with fitness, but we follow some people on Instagram, but Bethany Hamilton, the surfer.
Oh yeah.
I love that most of the time she'll post like encouraging exercise videos, but almost always all 3 or 4, I think she has 4 kids now, are in the video like working out and pulling weights behind her. And I love that she has created a family culture of fitness and movement, and that is so, you know, that is so important. I think, you know, something that's really important with me and my kids is a culture of openness and communication. So like, you know, we talk a lot. We all lay on each other, come under Lola, and we tell our heart's desires, like really, really vulnerable things. And I think that's part of our culture. I'm not purposely doing it. It's just what we do. And I think it was interesting. We, somehow our daughters like started communicating on our phones the other day and sending these texts that were like very
super deep.
And we haven't even really talked about it yet, but part of me was like, we've created this because
of course
they have seen where we're like very thankful and very gratitude for friendship and love and all of these things. So that's the culture they're creating. You know, they're being like, thank you for, you know, being my friend in the low times and the sad. I mean, they're 12 years old and they're like saying that each other give them the strength to live and just stuff like that. And it's very, but I think that we create, you know, that's the culture. And so part of me is like, I'm glad that you can be open and say those things. And
I mean, related to that, something else I realized is that with my friends or with my kids and their friends, you know, girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever, my kids are very quick to say, I love you. And I was talking about this with some coworkers and they were like, yeah, because that's exactly how you are. I mean, that's just the culture in your home. And you know, I was like that growing up. My parents and grandparents, we were very vocal about that. When we love someone, we tell them, you know, I always say I love you when I hang up the phone. It, you know, just is kind of like a thing. If I love you, I'm going to tell you. And so it's interesting just to see that culture come out in our kids and how they interact with other people and how that's gone, you know, beyond our family. And so it's funny to see.
I love that.
Yeah. And I didn't even think about it, right? It's not something that I was like, we are a family that says I love you. It's just something that we did. And now it's kind of, you know, trickled out into their social circles. So
one of the girls that we hang out with a lot, I remember she told us one time, she was like, I have hugged you girls more than my own family, my sister and my mom. And she's close to her family. Like she's not like estranged or anything like that. That they're very close. But the culture is that we hug tight and long and awkward, and it is okay and big.
Goodbyes and hellos.
And so that is the culture that we have, you know, created. But it's like, what culture do you want to be a part of? And she wasn't anti-hug. It's just that's just not what was done. And now she's pro-hug.
And I will say, people who are anti-huggers have not really lasted too long in our friend group, I must say.
I think so.
It's been interesting. And not that we like reject that. Totally fine. People can make decisions about their bodies.
Sometimes it's really hard.
I think we make people feel weird.
Yeah, maybe. And I don't always respect it, Stacy.
Oh my gosh. Well, if someone didn't want you to hug them, you would hug them.
Like if they like told me no, but sometimes I forget, and I'm just
too.
like,
that's the thing. I don't. I just assume everybody wants to be hugged.
I wouldn't like purposely like hug them right in front of them and saying, you're gonna take it, you know. Well, no,
thank goodness. That was very aggressive.
But it's just like in the moment, it's like, I can't believe you wouldn't want to be.
Yeah, of course you want to be hugged by me.
And front hugged.
I'm a great hugger.
I would never side hug. Who was side hugs? I hate them. I still like. I know your husband doesn't love a hug from me. I think he likes them from you, but like, but not from me. So it's like I have to. I feel his mood, and then sometimes I go for the side, and then sometimes I'll pull it. I'm like, he's in the real hug mood. Yeah,
I love it. Hugging culture. 10 out of 10 recommend.
Do it.
Just if you're not a hugger, avoid us for sure.
Countercultural sometimes. I mean, maybe the people you're around don't even know they want to be hugged.
That's true.
And there's a lot. Okay, let's talk about the science of hugging.
Oh, that would be a great episode.
For 60 seconds. Releases oxytocin and just makes you feel so good. And 60 seconds is awkward, but I strongly recommend it. Mm-hmm. Just like,
of course you do.
Yeah,
no, but I do too.
Go in, say I'm going to do it for a minute.
Just see what happens.
You can do anything for a minute.
That's right.
We have to tell the story.
Okay.
No, it's nothing bad. But
this is gonna be.
No, it's not. It's not anything crazy. But whenever we were listening to John Acuff, which is one of our motivational speakers, and so now anytime that we are doing something that is like maybe a little bit awkward, hard, can't do it. He says that we should think about we can do anything for the length of a blow pop, like licking a blow pop. So you think about sucking, licking a blow pop.
Listen,
and we can do anything for that amount of time.
Generally, I think that's true. Like when we originally talked about this, like
what can't you do for the length of a blow pop?
trying to write a book or whatever, you can sit down and write for the length of a blow pop, sure, right?
Uh-huh.
But right now we're talking about hugging. It takes a long time.
It does not take a long time.
To eat a blow pop.
No.
Yeah, like
I can lick it fast.
Minutes.
Minutes? You think?
Yes. Maybe we'll do a blow pop challenge and see how long it.
I bite the hardness fast. Like I don't I don't lick it down to the gum.
Oh yeah,
I want to get to the I'll lick it until I feel it.
So our time for blow pop very varied, very varied. Well, maybe one day we will. We'll do a challenge. We'll do it. How long does it take you?
4 people with a blow pop and see. And you could do most things you could probably do for that length. Yeah,
many people hugging, and that would be too long. Not us though. We will hug and eat blow pops and then tell you how it goes.
But so we digress.
Yes.
But getting back on track, culture is important to help. Consistency helps breed culture, but culture helps you to be able to keep the consistent behavior and it to be generally, I feel like, easier. Yeah. Maybe easy, but easier. Just because you know that's what you want. You know, this is what we want out of life. This is what we desire. Yeah. I want to create a culture of travel and I mean, right?
Yes, totally in for that. I love that.
So to do that, I feel like we have to save money.
Oh gosh, save money.
So that is a culture that is not exciting to me, but I get it and I get the value in that. But that is not an easy one. Yeah, and I think that's where if we create that culture that we want big things. Like I try to teach this with our kids. Like I want to be able to do the big things. So sometimes we have to say no to the smaller things. Yeah. And so like one example. And I think that we did this recently. We really wanted to go to Charlotte and do this like big snow, like sledding down the snow. But we looked up the prices and it was going to be like $40 a person. So we're looking at $200 plus gas, plus food. And we opted to say no to that because we wanted bigger things. So, you can be in the culture of, I just want to do all the things now. Yeah. I want all the Starbucks now. I want, these things. Or no, I'm going to say no to these things because the bigger thing, we're going to save up for the trip to Arizona, Utah, California, Hawaii, Greece,
Bali,
Italy, Bora Bora. Oh my goodness. All the places I send you pictures of and you send me pictures of.
Yes.
And because that's the culture we want. We want travel.
For sure.
We want experiences more than material things.
For sure. Yeah. Mm.
And not that there's any, if you're one person, I think about, I've had conversations with people and they're like, I really want the nice pocketbook, the designer jeans. I want, and that's what they want. Yeah. And that is fine. That's their culture, but that's, I want hand-me-down scubas and trips to Greece.
Yeah. Which is probably still way more expensive than the things. But yes, I'm with you. I'm with you on experiences over stuff for sure. Yeah. So I love it. So as you are, we're just started a new year and maybe heading into some new stuff. Think about your circle. Think about the social norms around you. Think about the cultures. Think about the people you're with, but also the places you go. And go to the places and be with the people who are, just doing the things that you want to do, where your desired behaviors are normal. That's right.
Love it.
Love it.
We talk about these things because we love you.